Today we launch a new series. It's
Yeah.
even that special. I can barely get it out. It's called Mission Go.
Jadi minggu ini kita meluncurkan sebuah seri terbaru yaitu Misi Pergi.
Now you're not going to receive a tape that's going to self-destruct in 5 seconds.
Jadi
like in the
kita
Mission Impossible movies, okay? It's not like dun 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 dun. dun. There's not going to be any. Although we could have organized that as a theme song, but
walaupun namanya misi untuk pergi, tapi kita tidak akan menerima tape recorder kayak di film Mission Impossible ya, yang membuat kita jadi terbelah jadi 5 gitu, enggak.
but I do believe that God is going to use this series to launch us into a deeper sense of purpose and meaning.
Tapi saya percaya bahwa Tuhan akan menggunakan seri ini untuk membawa kita kepada pengertian dan tujuan yang lebih dalam lagi.
That where we could fully embrace the mission that He has called us to.
Di mana kita bisa menyambut dengan lebih sukacita lagi misi yang Tuhan sudah berikan dalam hidup kita.
Now, today we're going to be looking at the final words of Jesus.
Kita akan melihat kalimat-kalimat Tuhan terakhir.
And it's an interesting thought. It's a bit somber. What would your final words be here on earth? What would you want to say?
Ini agak sedih ya. Kira-kira kalau kita ditanya, kira-kira kita akan apa sih kalimat-kalimat terakhir kita?
It's like, did you turn the iron off? Or did you turn the stove? If you're a stressed mum, then that could be what you might say. Like, what would you say? It's quite an interesting thought.
Ya, ini pemikiran yang cukup, maksudnya topik yang cukup menarik ya. Kira-kira kalau kita akan meninggalkan dunia ini, apa sih kalimat terakhir kita sebelum kita menutup mata?
And so Jesus knew that these were going to be His final words.
Nah, Tuhan Yesus tahu pada saat itu adalah waktu untuk dia menyampaikan kalimat terakhirnya.
And so I believe He chooses them very carefully.
Jadi saya percaya bahwa dia memilihnya dengan hati-hati.
And we see that in the Bible, there's 4 gospel accounts, so 4 books of the Bible that describe Jesus' life.
Ada 4 kitab di dalam Alkitab yang mendeskripsikan tentang kalimat terakhir Yesus.
Matthew,
Matius,
Mark,
Markus,
Luke, and
Lukas,
top marks.
Yohanes.
Well done. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
Ya, Matius, Markus, Lukas, Yohanes.
And all 4 of these books, they give us a glimpse as to Jesus' final words and what He did in those final days here on earth.
Nah, di 4 kitab ini ada cerita-cerita tentang apa sih yang Tuhan Yesus katakan di hari-hari terakhirnya ada di dunia.
Now, actually, Jesus kind of gets 2 chances to say final words. It's a bit sneaky.
Ya, jadi sebenarnya ada dua waktu Tuhan Yesus bisa menyampaikan.
On the cross, He says 7 different sayings.
Oke, jadi di kayu salib ada 7 perkataan Yesus.
Here's a few of them now. You might be familiar with them. My God, why have you forsaken me?
Allahku, Allahku, mengapa engkau meninggalkan aku?
Father, forgive them. They do not know what they're doing.
Bapa, ampunilah mereka sebab mereka tidak tahu apa yang mereka perbuat.
It is finished.
Sudah selesai.
And Father, into your hands I commit my spirit.
Dan ya Bapa, ke dalam tanganmu kuserahkan nyawaku.
Now, the reason that Jesus is saying these things because He's hanging on a cross. He's being crucified.
Jadi saat Tuhan Yesus menyampaikan kalimat tersebut, saat itu Tuhan Yesus sedang disalib.
He's been wrongfully accused,
Dia dituduh hal-hal yang tidak dilakukan
sentenced to death on a cross.
dan akhirnya dia dihukum mati.
And when we hear Him say these final words, we could picture Him hanging on the cross with nails in His hand, nails in His feet.
Jadi saat kita membicarakan tentang final words, kita bisa ngebayangin ya Tuhan Yesus saat itu di kayu salib, benar-benar disalib, tangannya dipaku, kakinya dipaku.
And that moment would have been really powerful. Actually, it's midday and the sky goes very dark.
Dan kejadian itu teramat sangat punya power yang besar karena saat itu siang hari, tapi tiba-tiba pada saat Tuhan Yesus menyampaikan kalimat terakhirnya, tiba-tiba langit berubah menjadi gelap.
The earth shakes.
Ya jadi ya dunia ini udah bergetar.
So much so that rocks are split open.
Bahkan sampai batu-batu itu terretak.
And so that moment would have been like, it would have been not scary, but it would have just been tense.
Ya, jadi pada saat itu suasananya mungkin bukan menakutkan, tapi kita bisa merasakan energi yang sangat kuat gitu ya.
In fact, what happened on the cross led people to come to the decision that truly He was who He said He was, the Son of God.
Bahkan kejadian Tuhan Yesus disalibkan ini boleh membawa orang-orang menyadari bahwa oh ternyata benar apa yang Yesus katakan tentang dirinya selama dia masih hidup itu benar adanya,
Now
bahwa dia adalah Tuhan.
these final words are not the final words we're going to talk about today.
Jadi kalimat terakhir yang akan kita bicarakan bukan yang akan dibicarakan hari ini.
Because Jesus gets another chance to give final instructions to his followers.
Karena Tuhan Yesus mendapatkan kesempatan lain untuk dia memberikan instruksi kepada murid-muridnya.
As we may be familiar with, Jesus dies,
Ya, mungkin kita udah familiar ya, Tuhan Yesus mati,
he's buried in a tomb,
kemudian dia dikuburkan,
yet on the third day he rises again. He resurrects from the dead.
dan pada hari yang ketiga dia bangkit.
And in this process, he conquers once and for all the power that both sin and death have over us.
Dan dalam proses ini dia telah mengalahkan maut. Maut yang harusnya membuat kita mati.
His death is necessary in order to sacrifice his life.
Jadi kematiannya memang sangat diperlukan untuk kebutuhan kita.
So that we could have forgiveness of our sins.
Jadi kita bisa mendapatkan pengampunan atas semua dosa-dosa yang sudah kita perbuat oleh karena kematiannya.
Forgiveness for our mistakes, our disobedience.
Ya, pengampunan untuk ketidaktaatan kita.
And so his death, it conquered the power that sin has over our lives.
Jadi kematian Tuhan yang sudah melenyapkan semua dosa-dosa tersebut.
But Jesus doesn't remain dead.
Tetapi Tuhan Yesus tidak tetap mati.
He doesn't stay in that tomb.
Dia tidak tinggal di dalam kubur itu.
But his resurrection from the dead, it proves that indeed he was who he said he was, the Son of God.
Ya, tetapi kebangkitannya itulah yang membuktikan bahwa dia adalah siapa yang dia katakan sebelumnya, dia adalah anak Allah.
And so Jesus conquers death.
Jadi Tuhan Yesus sudah mengalahkan maut.
He rises again, and this is where we pick up the story.
Dan dia sudah mengalahkan maut, dia sudah mati dan dia bangkit, dan disinilah cerita kita dimulai.
And so there was a period of about 40 days from when he rose again to when he ascended to heaven that he was on earth meeting with his disciples and followers.
Ada waktu 40 hari dari antara Tuhan Yesus bangkit sampai dia naik ke surga.
So let's take a look at what he says and does.
Baik, mari kita lihat apa sih yang Tuhan Yesus lakukan dan katakan selama waktu 40 hari itu.
And if you think about it, Jesus could have said many things.
Tuhan Yesus bisa aja sebenarnya mengatakan banyak hal.
He could have gone into some more preached sermons.
Dia bisa aja memberikan pengajaran-pengajaran yang lebih,
or unpack some more parables and stories.
atau dia bisa memberikan lebih banyak lagi perumpamaan-perumpamaan.
But we see that actually Jesus' purpose is to give his followers a mission.
Tetapi tujuan Tuhan selama 40 hari itu adalah fokus di memberikan misi kepada murid-muridnya.
All right, let's start with the account given in the book of Luke chapter 24.
Baik, mari kita mulai dari apa yang dikatakan di Lukas 24.
And so the chapter begins with two women coming to the tomb.
Jadi buku ini dimulai dengan cerita ada dua orang wanita datang ke kubur Yesus
And they find that it's empty.
dan mereka menemukan itu sudah kosong
And two angels appear before them.
dan ada dua
I know
malaikat
that would
Tuhan.
have been louder. That really didn't go well, that sound effects. But
Ya, ada dua malaikat Tuhan pada saat mereka datang ke kubur Yesus, kuburnya kosong tetapi ada dua malaikat Tuhan di
so
sana.
when it says angels, don't be thinking just like the little cherub with the arrow, the baby cherub with the little baby wings. Like these are big, mighty angels. So like this would have been quite a moment. Don't just brush over those words. Two angels appeared to them.
Ya, jadi malaikat yang digambarkan di kitab suci itu bukanlah malaikat-malaikat yang selama ini image-nya kita tahu ya di dunia ini kayak ada sayapnya, kemudian cantik, kecil, nggak seperti itu. Tetapi benar-benar malaikat yang suci yang emang kalau kita bayangkan kejadiannya di situ itu pasti teramat sangat punya power yang besar.
And they say these words to these ladies, why do you look for the living among the dead? He is not here, he is risen.
Ini yang dikatakan malaikat tersebut kepada dua orang wanita itu. Mengapa kamu mencari dia yang hidup di antara orang yang mati? Ia tidak ada di sini, ia telah bangkit.
And so the women, they come back to where the other disciples are.
Jadi
And they're so excited.
Jadi kedua wanita ini akhirnya pergi dengan excitednya ke tempat di mana murid-murid Tuhan saat itu berada.
Have you ever had a time where you've got really exciting news and you're just holding it in for the right moment? You're like, just I want to say now. Like when you buy the best present, but you're like, no, I can't share it now. I need to wait until they get the present. Like there was just such this excitement. They've got this news about what had happened to Jesus.
Ya, jadi kedua wanita ini tuh bener-bener happy, terus udah gitu nggak sabar mau memberikan berita sukacita ini ya. Kalau kayak kita baru dapat sesuatu yang baru dapat news yang baru dan kita membagikan mungkin ke orang tua, mungkin ke teman-teman, tapi kita dalam perjalanan ke sana pasti kayak deg-degan, terus udah gitu seneng, happy, semuanya campur aduk.
And so the response of the followers of Jesus gives us some hope for those that struggle with doubt.
Ya, dan responsnya murid-murid Tuhan itu saat itu sebenarnya memberikan kita harapan kalau kita pernah meragukan tentang Tuhan.
In verse 11 it says, but they did not believe the women because their words seemed to be to them like nonsense. Peter, however, got up and ran to the tomb. Bending over, he saw the strips of linen lying there by themselves, and he went away wondering to himself what had happened.
Ya. Jadi di Lukas 24 ayat 11-12 dikatakan, tetapi bagi mereka perkataan-perkataan itu seakan-akan omong kosong dan mereka tidak percaya kepada perempuan-perempuan itu. Sungguh pun demikian Petrus bangun, lalu cepat-cepat pergi ke kubur itu. Ketika ia menjenguk ke dalam, ia melihat hanya kain kafan saja. Lalu ia pergi dan ia bertanya ke dalam hatinya, apa yang kiranya telah terjadi?
So the story continues. Another two disciples, they're walking to a village called Emmaus, not Tianya, Emmaus. And it was about 7 miles from Jerusalem, so about 11 kilometers from Jerusalem.
Ya, jadi ceritanya berlanjut bahwa ada dua orang murid Tuhan Yesus yang pergi ke sebuah desa bernama Emmaus. Dia sekitar 11 kilometer dari Yerusalem.
And Jesus appears to them.
Tuhan Yesus menampakkan diri di hadapan mereka.
But they don't recognize that it's even him.
Tapi mereka berdua ini bahkan nggak menyadari bahwa itu adalah Tuhan Yesus.
And they start talking about the events that have just taken place, about Jesus' crucifixion.
Ya, dan pada saat itu kedua murid Tuhan itu mereka berbincang-bincang tentang kejadian yang baru saja terjadi, yaitu tentang penyaliban Tuhan Yesus.
And it was only until that the group shared bread together that they recognized that it was actually Jesus.
Nah, mereka akhirnya menyadari bahwa itu adalah Tuhan Yesus adalah pada saat Tuhan Yesus membagi-bagikan roti kepada mereka.
And so when he broke the bread and offered it, they would have seen his nail-pierced hands.
Pada saat Tuhan Yesus memecah-mecahkan roti itu dan bagikannya kepada mereka, saat itulah kedua murid Tuhan Yesus ini melihat bahwa ada bekas paku di tangan Tuhan Yesus.
In verse 31, then their eyes were open and they recognized him. And then he disappeared from their sight.
Dan ketika itu di ayat 31 dikatakan ketika itu terbukalah mata mereka dan mereka pun mengenal dia, tetapi ia lenyap dari tengah-tengah mereka.
I love playing peekaboo with our daughter.
Saya sangat senang sekali main peekaboo dengan anak kami.
And even half my face is still visible. She thinks I've disappeared, and then when I come out again and say peekaboo, she's like, hey mom, there you are.
Jadi walaupun sebenarnya setengah dari muka saya masih kelihatan, tapi dia tetap, mama di sana.
And I love it. Jesus is like playing peekaboo with his disciples, like, hey, I'm here, surprise, I've gone away, but hey, surprise, I'm back again.
Dan di sini kita seperti Tuhan Yesus seperti main peekaboo ya, oh saya ada di sini.
And so it's interesting, these disciples, they say, weren't our hearts burning with us while he talked to us?
Nah, murid-murid Tuhan saat itu berkata kepada satu dengan yang lainnya, bukankah hati kita berkobar-kobar ketika ia berbicara dengan kita di tengah jalan dan ketika ia menerangkan kitab suci kepada kita?
And so these disciples got up and they returned at once to Jerusalem. So remember, they're 7 miles away from Jerusalem, more than 11 kilometers. So I don't know if they did it overnight because it was getting to the evening, but they were like, we've got to get back to see the other disciples.
Nah, jadi kedua murid Tuhan Yesus ini karena mereka kaget itu adalah Tuhan, mereka memutuskan bahwa mereka mau kembali ke Yerusalem selama saat itu juga berjalan 11 kilometer.
And as they're standing there telling their other disciples what they had seen, then guess what? Peekaboo! Jesus appears amongst them and says, peace be with you, not peekaboo. Peace be with you.
Ya, dan saat mereka sudah sampai ke Yerusalem dan berbincang-bincang dengan 10 murid lainnya, tiba-tiba Tuhan Yesus datang lagi, halo, Nggak halus ya. Tuhan Yesus datang lagi di tengah-tengah mereka dan berkata kepada mereka, damai sejahtera bagimu. Bukan
I'm,
peekaboo, bukan halo.
I'm going to try that with Annabelle. Peace be with you. It's a bit harder to say, but
Ya, saya akan mencobanya dengan Annabelle. Ya, damai sejahtera bagimu, bukannya peekaboo.
and so they were startled and frightened, as you can imagine they would be, thinking that they are seeing a ghost.
Ya, jadi mereka terkejut dan takut menyangka bahwa mereka melihat hantu.
And then Jesus says, "Why are you troubled? Why do doubts rise in your mind? Look at my hands, look at my feet. It is I myself. Touch me and see. A ghost does not have flesh and bones as you see I have."
Saat mereka ragu dan mereka pikir mereka melihat hantu, Tuhan Yesus berkata kepada mereka, mengapa kamu terkejut dan apa sebabnya timbul keraguan-raguan di dalam hatimu? Lihatlah tanganku dan kakiku, aku sendirilah ini, rabalah aku dan lihatlah, karena hantu tidak ada daging dan tulangnya seperti yang kamu lihat ada padaku.
And so I want you to put yourself into the story, because sometimes we can read the final words of Jesus but miss the context in which these words are given.
Ya, jadi mari kita sama-sama masuk ke dalam konteks ini karena sering sekali pada saat kita membaca cerita tentang kalimat-kalimat terakhir Tuhan, kadang kita ngebaca tapi kita nggak mengerti konteksnya.
The disciples were in a place of fear and anxiety.
Saat itu murid-murid Tuhan itu ada di dalam waktu di mana mereka takut.
In the Gospel of John, it describes that they were in a room and they had locked the door because they were fearful of what the Jewish leaders were going to do to them.
Di kitab Yohanes dikatakan saat itu murid-murid Tuhan itu mereka semua berkumpul dan mengunci pintu karena mereka takut akan apa yang akan terjadi.
They're in a place of confusion.
Mereka bingung.
The future is unknown.
Mereka tidak tahu apa yang akan terjadi di masa depan.
Their thoughts are thinking, well, is this true? Has Jesus really risen? I saw him die on the cross. I saw his lifeless body. They're trying to figure out what's going on.
Ya, karena mereka mencoba membuat itu masuk akal ya, karena memang secara pemikiran manusia hal itu nggak masuk akal. Tuhan Yesus sudah mati, saya udah lihat ada dia di kayu salib, tapi apa yang terjadi kok dia bisa hidup lagi dan bangkit.
And then Jesus appears to them. He doesn't come to the door and knock on the door and be like, "Hey guys, I'm back." He like literally appears. Peace be with you, peekaboo. Like that would have just blown their minds.
Ya, dan di tengah-tengah kebingungan mereka, di tengah-tengah keraguan mereka, Tuhan Yesus datang di hadapan mereka.
And it's in this space that he delivers this mission statement, this commission for them.
Dan di tengah-tengah kejadian inilah Yesus menyampaikan misinya untuk mereka.
For us, sometimes we have to think need to be ready for the mission. We have to have every part of our life sorted and organized. We have to be perfect people, really spiritual to be used by God.
Dan saya rasa sama seperti kita juga, terkadang kalau kita mau menerima misi dari Tuhan, kita pikir, oh kehidupan saya harus sempurna dulu, hal yang ini harus beres dulu, masalah yang ini harus beres dulu.
But Jesus meets them in their anxiety, in their fear, and gives them this mission.
Tetapi Tuhan Yesus datang dan menemui mereka di tengah-tengah kebingungan mereka dan memberikan misi ini bagi mereka.
Let's read it together in verse 44. He said to them, "This is what I told you while I was still with you. Everything must be fulfilled that is written about me in the law of Moses, the prophets, and the Psalms." And then he opened their minds so that they could understand the scriptures.
Ia berkata kepada mereka, inilah perkataanku yang telah kukatakan kepadamu ketika aku masih bersama-sama dengan kamu. Yakin bahwa harus digenapi semua yang ada tertulis tentang aku dalam kitab Taurat Musa dan kitab Nabi-Nabi dan Mazmur. Lalu ia membuka pikiran mereka sehingga mereka mengerti kitab suci.
And he told them that this is what is written. The Messiah will suffer and rise from the dead on the third day, and repentance for the forgiveness of sins will be preached in his name to all nations, beginning at Jerusalem. You are witnesses of these things, and I'm going to send you what my Father has promised, but stay in the city until you have been clothed with power on high.
Katanya kepada mereka, ada tertulis demikian, Mesias harus menderita dan bangkit dari antara orang-orang mati pada hari ketiga. Dan lagi dalam namanya berita tentang pertobatan dan pengampunan dosa harus disampaikan kepada segala bangsa mulai dari Yerusalem. Kamu adalah saksi dari semuanya ini dan aku akan mengirim kepadamu apa yang dijanjikan Bapakku. Tetapi kamu harus tinggal di dalam kota ini sampai kamu diperlengkapi dengan kekuasaan dari tempat tinggi.
And so here in this passage, he's giving us a mission to pursue.
Jadi di sini Tuhan Yesus memberikan kita misi untuk kita capai.
In Mark chapter 16, verse 15 to 18, he says it this way: "Go into all the world and preach the gospel to all creation. Whoever believes in and is baptized will be saved, but whoever does not believe will be condemned. These signs will accompany those who believe. In my name they will drive out demons. They will speak in new tongues. They will pick up snakes with their hands, and when they drink deadly poison, it will not hurt them at all. They will place their hands on sick people and they will get well."
Markus 16 ayat 15 sampai 18 mengatakan, lalu ia berkata kepada mereka, pergilah ke seluruh dunia, beritakanlah Injil kepada segala makhluk. Siapa yang percaya dan dibaptis akan diselamatkan, tetapi siapa yang tidak percaya akan dihukum. Tanda-tanda ini akan menyertai orang-orang yang percaya. Mereka akan mengusir setan-setan demi namaku. Mereka akan berbicara dalam bahasa-bahasa yang baru bagi mereka. Mereka akan memegang ular, dan sekalipun mereka minum racun maut, mereka tidak akan mendapatkan celaka. Mereka akan meletakkan tangannya di atas orang sakit dan orang itu akan sembuh.
And finally, Matthew 28, verse 18 to 20. Then Jesus came to them and said, "All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Therefore go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I commanded you. And surely I am with you to the very end of the age."
Dan akhirnya di Matius 28 ayat 18 sampai 20 dikatakan, Yesus mendekati mereka dan berkata, kepadaku telah diberikan segala kuasa di surga dan di bumi. Karena itu pergilah, jadikanlah semua bangsa muridku dan baptislah mereka di dalam nama Bapa dan Anak dan Roh Kudus. Dan ajarlah mereka melakukan segala sesuatu yang telah kuperintahkan kepadamu, dan ketahuilah aku menyertai kamu senantiasa sampai kepada akhir zaman.